Hi everyone, Tyler Manion here, NPC and IFBB Pro League Vice President. This will be your Tampa Pro recap for Classic Physique, brought to you by New Tech. So in first place, we had Niall from the UK. I was extremely impressed with Niall. I think his improvements from just the Olympia last year were major. His conditioning was spot on. As you see, his structure in all these poses, his waistline, everything about this guy screams classic. And I think he added his name as a contender with, probably 7 other guys right now. There's an open spot here, and I'm excited if he brings this look to the Olympia, what this guy's going to be able to do, because I think that he's going to make these comparisons really, really interesting. For him, he still needs some more thickness and depth to his back. I think 100% improved from last year. Definitely improved width-wise. There's no doubt about that. But the thickness and the depth, 100% improved as well. If you just go compare it to what he looked like at the Olympia last year, the back was very weak compared to the rest of his physique because of how good the rest of his physique is. Now I feel like his back, you wouldn't really say is standing out as a weakness. It's just something that can continue to come up and get better. But it looked way, way better and made his physique way more balanced, especially from the back. He also, in his back double, he's kind of rounding his shoulders and his chest a little bit too far forward. That's kind of flattening out his back a little bit. So I actually think he can display a little bit more thickness and depth if he's not rounding, and it's just really at the top. He's rounding his shoulders and kind of concaving his chest in. He doesn't need to do that. When he poses the correct way, he really, I think, is going to bring out more of that depth and detail back there. His arms 100% came up from last year. I think in the front and the back double, they look very good. But in the side chest pose, I think his arms can still use a little bit more size. And then the last thing is that he can tweak is he can still use a little bit more hamstring in his side chest pose. I actually think it might have just been more the way that he was standing and posing in the side chest, because as you see in his back double bicep pose, his legs were very impressive, and the hamstrings and the leg width from the back was very, very impressive. So for me, I also just think it is more of a posing thing to really display that hamstring drop in the side chest pose, which again, every little thing matters when it comes to, what he's going to look like on stage at the Olympia next to these guys. So all little things that I think can be tweaked with posing, and obviously working on continuing to improve. But overall, really, really impressed with this guy and very excited to see him at the Olympia. In second, we had Mateus. For Mateus, he just missed the mark with conditioning. He definitely wasn't as conditioned at any of the shows that he was at last year that I saw him at. Other than that, the other two things he needs to improve are the same things he needed to improve last year, which is chest thickness and still more depth to his back. For him, these two areas are the only things he needs to fill in. As you see, he has an amazing structure. I feel like he has really, really good potential in this division. If he wants to qualify for the Olympia this year, he just needs to bring the conditioning the same way he brought at multiple different shows last year. In third place, we had Marouf. For Marouf, his conditioning was very solid. He just needs some more overall size to his upper body so it starts matching his lower body. He needs to focus on adding more thickness and width to his back. He needs more size to his arms and shoulders, and he still needs more thickness to the chest. In fourth, we had Matt. Matt just really needs some more overall size in general, so needs to be bigger from top to bottom overall. Obviously, can basically say every single body part, more overall size to the legs from all different angles, more thickness to the back, more thickness to the chest, and more size to the arms. Really, for him, it was more about just adding size, as his conditioning was very solid, and that's what ended up him in fourth. Hi everyone, Tyler Manion here, NPC and IFBB Pro League Vice President. This will be your Tampa Pro recap for the 212 division. So, along with Open, 212, an extremely deep class at this show. I was very happy to see the overall quality of the physiques. Really, all these guys that were in the top 10 brought great packages. We'll go over the top 4 here that I all thought were very, very competitive physiques. Would not be surprised to see basically all of them ending up at the Olympia this year. So, in first place, we had Lucas. Lucas brought a very dense and balanced and impressive physique, all with a nice small waistline as well. So I thought he had a lot of strong poses. You see the density and the detail in his physique. His front double looked great. His front lat spread looked great. His side shots, very, very good. Really for him, the main things he can focus on is overall, I thought his conditioning can still be pushed a little bit more. I thought the conditioning was solid overall, but he definitely wasn't the most conditioned guy on stage. His conditioning from the front and the side, I think, is just a little bit better than his conditioning from the back. That's probably because his density and overall muscularity in the front and in the side is better than what it is in the back. In his back pose, he actually has a very nice back double bicep and lat spread, but he can still use a little bit more depth and thickness back there. And also as well, his hamstrings from the back, I think, can also be improved. I think they look very solid from the side, but from the back, they can still be improved as well. That's going to change how these poses look. And with the conditioning, obviously, that's going to take these poses to the next level for him. And if he's able to do this, I'm actually really impressed with this guy. I think he can go pretty far at the Olympia. In second, we had Marco. Marco's been a guy that's just been grinding. He always improves, I feel like, a little bit year over year. I thought he was a little bit improved from last year. Obviously this year as well. For him, his number one thing is his back. He needs to add some more thickness and depth to his back. He also needs more width. That's his number one thing. The width to his back is going to change his poses. Front double, front lat, back double, back lat. Obviously still looks better too when you go into the ab and thigh as well. So width is his number one thing. Depth and thickness to the back. And then also with him, he can still use a little bit more chest thickness, especially to his upper chest. Conditioning, very solid per usual for him. In third, we had Oben Roxman. This was actually the first time that I saw him in pretty good condition in his career. I remember when he turned pro in Dubai a couple years ago. And for him, I was actually impressed that he was able to get into the conditioning that he was in, but still that can be pushed a little bit further. For him, he can improve his overall back. He really needs some more thickness and width to the back. Number one thing is thickness and depth though. It's just very flat looking right now compared to the rest of the bubbly, round, and full muscle that he brings in the rest of his physique. He improves his overall back. He can still use a little bit more size to his legs from the side, a little bit more balance to his leg size between left and right from the front. And then for him, posing conditioning. This goes along with normal conditioning, but it still matters with the posing too. He definitely faded as I pose these guys a lot because I thought it was a very good group. And that's what ended up putting him in third. But if he's able to just dial in the conditioning just a little bit more and not fade while posing, he's going to have a very good shot at winning a show here in the future. In fourth, we had Esteban. I think Esteban brings a very nice aesthetic physique. He brings a very good physique from the front and from the side. What he needs to focus on is number one for him, his overall back. It needs much more thickness and depth to it. And obviously, you can see in these back poses, he can still add some more width to it as well, even though the width he displays from the front, I think, is very, very solid. He also needs to add some more thickness to his chest as well. You can see this in the front poses and in the side poses. Really for him, his conditioning was very, very good. It's just these two areas that need to come up that's really going to complete the rest of his physique because everything else is very solid and very strong on him. So that's why I said, even for him, bringing this kind of conditioning, I would not be surprised to see him have a good shot at winning a show here to make it to the Olympia. So very happy with the top four here and very impressed overall. This will be your Tampa Pro recap for men's physique. In first place, we had Emmanuel. For me, this was by far Emmanuel's best look that he's ever brought to the stage. I feel like he added just a touch more overall size and really just roundness to his physique and his upper body. As you could see, chest was very full, shoulders and arms very balanced with each other, very balanced with his torso. And then I think the biggest improvement, his definition and separation of his abs and just whole entire abdominal section. So you see even in his obliques, right under his lats, you see the detail now in the conditioning. The abs are popping and are separated. This is something that was a weakness for him that I don't think he has displayed even while being fourth in the world the last two Olympias. So for him, massive, massive improvements. I also think he's done a good job of bringing up the size of his legs. Obviously, he can still continue to do this, but a major difference again from what they looked like last year. And conditioning, very, very good, especially from the front. Going to his back pose, and honestly, his back pose is actually even stronger than his front pose. He for sure has one of the best backs in men's physique. Again, overall balance between the arms, the delts, how they fit into his back, very good separation, very good depth and detail back there. Conditioning, again, very good. For me, overall, this is definitely the most conditioned he has ever been. The amount of pop and fullness to his physique in this back pose too, best it's ever been. Really for him, we're going to look at now ahead to the Olympia. If he can push this conditioning just ever so slightly more and still keep this fullness and everything else that he brought here, I really think that's the only thing he really needs to try to tweak for the Olympia because he knows he's going against, obviously, Ryan Terry's won the last two Olympias, calling card of crazy conditioning. Ali just won the Arnold, calling card of crazy conditioning. So you have a couple guys that are going to be up there that, their conditioning is their calling card. His conditioning, very, very good. I think this is a physique that is up with those, whatever you want to say. He was fourth the last 2 years, but there's a couple more guys, obviously, than Ryan and Ali who have a shot. He's definitely in there, and I think this was a statement that was made by him. In second place, we had Deke. I actually think Deke looked even a little bit better than he did when he won Columbia a couple weeks ago. The detail to his midsection was actually better. His abs look better at this show. For him, still the main thing overall is still improving that back. He can use more width for sure. As you see with his conditioning, you see nice detail to his back. Can still add a little bit more depth and thickness to improve that pose a little bit more. And then obviously still just a touch more thickness to that upper chest. But overall for Deke, I thought a very, very good look for him. In third place, we had Barack. I think this was Barack's best look that I have personally seen from him. He still needs to add some more depth and thickness and detail to his back and the back pose. He can still use a little bit more thickness to his upper chest, and he can work on bringing up the size of his legs as well, just to give himself a more balanced look to his physique. Conditioning was spot on though, and overall balance I thought was very, very good for the division. In fourth place, we had Kaiki. For me, Kaiki, the main thing for him is number one, his conditioning was definitely not quite the same as the three guys that were ahead of him. He was a good bit softer, and his back just did not compare well to the three guys that were ahead of him as well. So for me, he needs to work on improving his overall back. So the thickness, the depth, the width, everything in that back pose, the lower lats, everything's got to be better. And then the conditioning, he has to bring conditioning like the three guys that were ahead of him. So that's going to really change his physique because his front pose is obviously very, very elite. This is a guy that was 10th at the Olympia last year. So you know the potential's there. It's just executing now and showing actually these improvements. Then finally, I'll go over the fifth place guy, which was Dan. For me, Dan is still big for men's physique, specifically from the front, arms and shoulders and chest. Everything is very big. His conditioning also could have been a little bit better here, but when you put him up against these guys, you know, that were in the top four, you can see he is a good bit bigger than them. So he has to continue to streamline his upper body down to really fit better in this division. The legs also need to come up. He's still very imbalanced because of how big his upper body is. So if he's going to continue on with men's physique, he needs to streamline that physique down to become the right size for the division.